and to call people and strive, actually struggle, that you call them with that's what is ahsan, what is kind, compassionate. At the moment, we are all going through a dilemma, and that is that we are all, majority of us are first generation migrants. Is it true or not? Is there anybody here who is a second generation migrant who was born in this country? Raise your hand. So majority of you are first generation migrants. Actually everybody here, except for the small kids. We are first generation migrants. We go through certain challenges and we go through certain way of life that every single migrant, whether it is in France, in Germany, in Holland, Sweden or Ireland, every single Muslim migrant goes through the same challenge. And that is, we have back home families, we have to support them. We have parents, we have to support them. We have brothers and sisters, we have to support them. At the same time, we are trying to build a future here for our generations, for our children. For that, we are busy all the time in work, in earning dunya, because earning fulus, you can say, earning money, because that is what we have to ultimately send back to the families. But sometimes we forget that while we are doing all of this, which is all important, we must not forget that we are here representing the Muslims. We are representing Islam. Every one of us, whether we are a salesman, we are a doctor, we are a physician, or we are just an office worker, a professional office worker, lawyer, anyone, every single one of us is a representative of Islam, is an ambassador of Islam, every single one. So anything that you do, it will have an impact on the Muslim community. It will have an impact on the Islam in Ireland. Anything that you do. You may be from Sudan, Somalia, Pakistan or Nigeria or Arab countries, but for the people in the larger community, Irish people, you are Muslim, that's it. So that is something that most of us forget. Most of us forget this. And we are too busy with our responsibilities in life that we forget our responsibilities to the larger community and our responsibility as an ambassador of Islam. Every one of us, we are ambassador of Islam, but we don't realize this. We don't work like that. We don't act like that. We do think sometimes that if these particular things that we do are known, and I'm not saying everyone, no, illa masha'Allah, there are exceptional cases, I'm talking generally, if people, non-Muslims find out, it will give a very bad impression of Islam and Muslims. So therefore, it becomes our responsibility to understand every one of us is an ambassador of Islam, da'i of Islam. Who is the true ambassador? Ask a politician, an ambassador of any country, just a dunya example. And a good ambassador is the one who, in the morning, opens the papers of the country that he's an ambassador to, of his country. And he goes through the media, he goes through the headlines, he goes what is written. Particularly, he focuses on what is written about his country. What are people saying about his country? What are people writing about his country? What is the status and what is the understanding, the perception of the people about his country, his state? And he will do his best now. Secretary of the media, he will tell him, do this, do that. He will allocate responsibilities. And he will ensure that the image of his country in the country that he is an ambassador to is a positive image. That he can build good relations between these two countries. If he is an ambassador of Iraq, he will try, and he is in Ireland, that between Iraq and Ireland there are good relations and people about Iraq say good things. He is an ambassador of Turkey, he will do the same for Turkey. For Pakistan, he will do the same for Pakistan. This is a good ambassador. Similarly, every one of us here, we are ambassadors of Islam. But we don't realize this. And we don't at all read the local media, national media. We are ignorant about the current affairs, particularly in regards to the Muslims in this country. except few people know it, but I'm talking generally. How many of you know about an article that was published in this week in an Irish paper that spoke against Muslims, against Islam, against Quran, against the Sunnah, against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How many of you do know about this article? Please raise your hand. Not a single person? Brenda Power, a journalist who worked for RTE one time and who wrote in a tabloid, but she wrote so much nonsense that the effect of that was that now the radio, whether it was News Talk, it was RTE, it was Today FM, it was LFFM, all them, they started talking about this article. What the article was saying. The article was talking about the attacks in Cologne, in Germany. Do you know about the attacks in Cologne?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, few people know that. Alhamdulillah, it means not because of the act, it means because at least some people are aware. Because what happened in Cologne is a very, very big thing, and that is an effect on the future generations of Muslims in this country and in Europe and the Western countries. Because we have to look at things not always with a conspiracy perspective. What is the conspiracy going on? It's not true. No, it's true. Some of us people, they have nothing else to say that when they get some news, oh, it's not true. Oh, it's just propaganda of the media. Habibi, what kind of people are we? If there is negative thing about our Muslim brother that we know in our area, we will say, oh, no, we will directly tell people it's true, and we will propagate that. But as soon as some non-Muslim talks about our community, we will say, no, it's not true. Unfortunately, certain things are true. What happened in Cologne is not a lie, was not a false flag. It is a truth. There are people out there that happen to be Muslims, or happen to come from countries with a Muslim majority communities, from Syria, from North Africa, and they are welcomed in Germany. They are welcomed in a country that they call kafir. Kafir country. Kafir country welcomes them, gives them their identity papers, and says, now you have the same right as us in this country. We accept your status as a refugee. How do they pay back? How do they pay back with that ihsan? هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان? That is what the Quran says. And what do these people do? What is the reward for them? In Cologne, hundreds of non-Muslim German women were attacked, sexually assaulted by these people. And of course, they were not religious people. There's no way they were religious people. No, they weren't. They were not, because if they were religious, they would know that Islam says that what to talk about physical assaulting a lady, sexual assault. In Islam, you are not even allowed to assault her virtually. To assault her in your mind. In your mind, that you think that, I wish I do this to her, I do that to her. And to fantasize in your mind is haram in Islam. And that is why Rasulullah said, the second look at a woman, the second look at a ghair mahram is forbidden. Why? Not the second look that you look at the cashier. No, the second look with the niyyah, intention of lust and desire, fantasy. It's haram, forbidden. Angels write straight away for you. It's not like there is no sin. There is sin, sayyi'ah. Angels write straight away a sin for you, even if you fantasize about a non-mahram, about a lady in that way. That religion of Islam, how can it allow people to sexually assault women? Of course not. It's nothing to do with Islam. But there are people that happen to be Muslims, happen to be born as Muslims, but unfortunately they don't realize what Islam is. They don't know what deen is. They don't know that al-haya'u shu'batu min al-iman. Modesty, haya is from the ihsan, from the iman. It is a level, small particle of iman. They don't know these things. So what is the problem? How do we address this? Not by ignoring it, no. Don't turn a blind eye to a problem. Because if you turn a blind eye to a problem, psychiatrists will tell you that. These people that are training others, they are trainers. They train people how to run a business. They train people how to run a successful business, or they train you, they coach you. These people that coach, what do they say? They say, if there is a problem, don't turn a blind eye. Because if you don't address it, you're running away from it, the problem is still there. In fact, the problem is going to increase and grow and grow and grow. And by the time that now the problem is so much that you have to give your attention to it, you have to address it, it is too big for you to address it now. And that is exactly what happens to the Muslims. It happened to the Muslims in Germany. It happened to the Muslims in Turkey, in Holland, in France. I am a person who was brought up in Holland until I was 16 years old. I have seen how the Muslim community, I still go because my family lives there, as you know. I still go and I see how the Muslim community, there was a time, Holland, I'm talking about the Netherlands, 30 years ago, I tell you how the people were. They were so friendly, so open, so kind, compassionate to the migrants. And majority of the migrants were Muslims from Turkey, Muslims from Morocco, and Pakistan, etc. But the majority were from these. But generally speaking, Muslims. These Dutch people welcomed them so much. This is 30 years ago, when the winters were very harsh, very, very harsh in Western Europe. They allowed them to stay in their homes six months, 1 year without any rent. They gave, because they welcomed them. They said, you are our guests in our countries. This is 1970s I'm talking about, in Holland. Dutch people welcomed migrants and they allowed them to stay in their countries, in their homes. And they said, you don't pay any rent. This is how kind they were. They used to, if there was a Muslim, they would make sure that they don't give pork to the person. They would even make for him, and Muslims in Holland have told me this many times. My uncles and my other people that I know, old people, I was speaking to my brother, younger brother's wife's father, which is his father-in-law, who's from Turkey. He's a Turkish Muslim. He told me as well this, and we were in a gathering, and they said that they used to make different food, especially for those that were Muslim in their home. They were so good for the Muslims. But what did we Muslims do? How did we pay back? We paid back in such a way that now, 40 years onwards, now they hate migrants. Now they hate Muslims. Right-wing extremist parties, right-wing fascist parties like Gdvhvbj is very successful in Holland. Why is it? Suddenly, the Dutch people were the most open, friendly people, and suddenly they have turned the most anti-Muslim in Europe now. One of the most anti-Muslim hostile societies now for Muslims is in Holland. And what we do, Muslims that don't know the facts behind history, oh, this is a kuffar, this is why they are doing this. These kuffar are better than our Muslims in our countries. These kuffar that we say kuffar, look how they deal with us. Look how they behave with us. They give in these countries, they give us the rights to get passports. We are equal citizens. We can go, we can become a minister of this country if we want to, if we have the ability to do so. There is nothing that stops us. And you talk about Muslim majority countries, go to Saudi Arabia. If you have a family member, you know that. You may be born in Saudi Arabia, but I'm sorry, even if you live 40 years, you're not entitled to Saudi citizenship. You're not even treated as a normal human being if you're not Saudi. You're seen as a third-class citizen. If you happen to be from Asia, because second-class citizen is the ones from the other Arab countries, like Palestine, like they consider them second class. And they consider the Pakistani Indian third class. And they consider the African people fourth class. This is the irony. This is the Ummah, my brothers. So-called Saudi Arabia, Mumlika Saudi Al-Arabiya, it is not Mumlika Al-Islami. Waqi'atan, true, it is Saudi, Mumlika Saudi. Not Mumlika Al-Islami. But you look at these countries, their attitude, their behavior, their response, subhanAllah. Syrian refugees are now Muslim people mostly, are throughout coming to Europe. And they are here, they are trying to help them, they are trying to give them everything. Ireland has allowed 4,000 refugees. Irish Red Cross, an Irish organization, Irish Red Cross, it's part of the worldwide international Red Cross. they have had 800 pledges from Irish people. And I was yesterday with Minister